Okay, I'm doing this video to basically show how I fitted a Ryco, is it RCC 350 catch can to my Toyota Land Cruiser Prado 1kz TE motor. It's a 1997 vehicle. A lot of people will be wondering how they can do this, and I think, well, the Ryco filter's probably your best value for money. It's a high flowing catch can, very minimal restriction. It's got 1-inch inlets and outlet ports. A lot of the cheap catch cans are just, they add restriction to the crankcase breathing circuit. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. It's pretty much, it's an Australian brand. It's a rip-off, I think, from the yeah, it looks like the Provent ones. I think it's a Provent 200 I was looking at. But if you do your research, you'll find yeah, these are pretty good. These are actually more cheaper than the Provent, and they perform better. The media, filter media inside is, from what I understand, is actually interchangeable between the two. That's how close they are. The only other difference I noticed from the model I was looking at is the import on the Ryco comes in the bottom and it comes out the top, which actually suits us better, I believe, because you're pushing the oil in, and all the oil water and that can separate and go down, and so I think that's a better way to go. I used hose. The hose I used is was it 5/8 inch, which is 16mm. I bought that from New Zealand Blackwoods, New Zealand Safety Blackwoods, I think they call themselves. It's cheap. It was about $17 a metre. It requires 2 metres. Well, not 2 metres, less than 2 metres, but yeah, 2 metres will give you a little bit left over. It's got written on it, Continental, I can see down in here, it's hard to see, but yeah, it's got Continental fuel emission, yeah, 5/8 hose. It's reasonably thin. I mean, it's thin enough that it can move. It's yeah, and it's the right diameter. It's the outside diameter of this is actually pretty much 1 inch, and that means that you can slide it just inside the fitting of these. I've only got it just coming in, not fully into the fitting, but it comes partially into that fitting. So this actually goes inside. The kit that I brought to make things easy is this RCC 350K kit. The advantage of that is it comes, yeah, obviously, yeah, I haven't got the original packet, the stuff that was in here. I've repurposed. My little girl is using it. Actually, there's the hose there. How do we do this? Yeah, Continental fuel emissions 5/8, 15.9mm. That's the hose I used. The kit came with these adapters, which made it quite easy, using the combination of the adapter that fits to yeah, the 1 inch outside of that, 1 inch of this, and slightly less than 1 inch hose. Yeah, so that adapter fits perfectly. The other thing that I did was what we have here. Okay, this hose, usually with the crankcase breather, it goes down to the turbo via using this metal assembly that's bolted onto the side of the block or the head. I think it's the side of the head, and there's a couple rubber bits that pop on the end, so you take the rubber bits off. I actually, so you remove this, and I cut 1 inch off each end of this pipe because it had little bird, you know, what do you call flared? I can't remember the term. Fittings on the end. I cut an inch off each end, and I stuck that inside this hose here. I stuck them right in there. That way I can use a lot of clamping force on this adapter without crushing the hose. So the internal diameter of this hose isn't compromised by tightening this clamp nut. This clamp nut, there's one at, I've got 4 of them. One on the hose going in, one on the out, and both on the coming off the valve cover. Yeah, I've got clamp there, and obviously on the turbo down below. I'll just describe the routing. Coming off the valve cover under here, you'll have to take the intercooler. You'll have to take the intercooler off, and this plastic airbox piping comes off. So yeah, you have to unscrew that. You can reuse the gaskets. They're alright. There's no gasket on this one anyway. And what you do is you route the pipe, the hose, onto the top of the valve cover, and yeah, so you put that on there, comes through underneath in front of this airbox ducting, goes through under the air conditioning, there's a pipe, goes through, stays down low. Tricky bit, sort of it goes in through these ABS lines. Don't know if you can see in there, but yeah, there's these ABS lines that it runs through, but you just route it through there, and you pretty much, the way I've got mine going, it doesn't even touch them. It goes through, there's very minimal clearance, but so that goes into the Ryco unit, comes out, and then goes just straight down to the turbo. Once again, on the front side of this gearbox pipe, so that goes down, and that's just clamped down there. The tricky thing is you've got to get the lengths right, so you probably want a little bit extra length and then cut it down later. The hardest part of the whole job, obviously, is mounting this guy and positioning him. I used stainless. These stainless things here. Now, these are actually, yeah, this is one that I was actually bending up for it, but it didn't quite fit. Right, so I had a couple of them, so I just had another go on another one that's in there now, and those I mounted. Okay, I mounted on this ABS unit. There's a bolt on the bottom, and I've actually run that stainless strap up here, bolted it to another stainless strap that goes across to there. I wouldn't worry too much about this. I'll put some extra support on there. It's probably not needed. I'm privileged. I've kind of got a little MIG welder there where I just tacked another extra bit on, but it would be sturdy. You can just screw bolt, and you know, drill bolt those brackets together. You can mount that however you like, but that is the tricky part. Don't know if you can see, but that's the way I've done it. Is down there. What happened is I actually bought this 6 months ago, and yeah, I actually made up this bracket then, and not really confident whether I could fit it or not. I paid full price. It was, I don't know, it was close to 300, or it was just shy of 300, I think, dollars, and I bought that from, actually Super Cheap's cheaper than Ryco, and anyway, I chickened out. I was too scared to bend the bracket, and I took it back, and then and 6 months later, when they had a sale, I think they had a 15% or 20% off everything, and I went back and bought it again, and yeah, this time with it slightly cheaper price, I thought, yeah, I'll risk it, and I bent the bracket, and yeah, it all worked out fine. So I think yeah, no, that was the thing to do. I think you do need this filter. We should all run, especially if you've got an EGR system fitted. Oh, it's crazy if you've got the EGR fitted. Yeah, this would be mandatory, mate. I mean, yeah, I've actually pulled mine out, but you know, I mean, strong argument to keep it in, I guess. But if I did keep it in, I'd probably put a switch in the interior to switch it on and off. I mean, there's a little actuator. It's just applying voltage to this actuator that allows vacuum from the vacuum pump to activate the diaphragm on the EGR, which would have sat in behind there. So you could actually have a little switch in the wiring of that, so to deactivate it. But I think you're better to blank it off the way I have. Potentially, you could actually put you could put an LED across. I don't know, 12 volts. I guess it's running on, so 5 milliamps. So you use a 2K resistor, 2K ohm resistor, and an LED, and put that on your dash, and you'll be able to see every time it turns on or off. Or yeah, that would be quite good. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, you definitely need one of those. A catch can for if you've got an EGR on there. I mean, it's absolute. It's pretty shit, really. I mean, you take if you're going to remove your EGR, or anyway, you should really take that manifold off, clean it out. It'll just be jam packed with shit, and that's a combination of exhaust gases mixing with the oil, cakes it all up. Can't really see it. I haven't got much room in my garage, but yeah, I've pulled all this off. And my throttle body, I cleaned it all out, and I did a little bit of, I've got a, what do you call it, a Dremel, and yeah, I've sort of done a bit of work in here, port matching, and used the Dremel while I was there, and yeah, it's an interesting design. It's obviously Toyota knew what they were doing when they incorporate the EGR. You can see how it all works. So I got some videos I made of that. I should put them on YouTube. And yeah, but anyway, that's another story. But yeah, no, these things are important. Pretty much get rid of the moisture and the oil that accumulates in the which otherwise would have accumulated in that intercooler, which would have made it less efficient. Yeah, you don't want oil in the intercooler or down there. So that's definitely I think the Hill should do this. It just prevents you having to pull that off at, I don't know what the service interval is, probably 100,000 K or something. But there's absolute shit in there. There's so much. When I cleaned it out, yeah, I'll probably post a video on it, and you see how bad it was. Everyone needs to do it. So yeah, that's